Good morning, good evening, and wherever the sun may find you. My name is Walt, and this is Coffee and Concepts on Keystroke Medium. Well, we're going to continue our quest to find some of the best and greatest expensive coffee that's out there on the market, as long as my cat decides to keep reminding me it's time to get fed. Come here, buddy. So to do that, speaking of cats, we wanted to talk about the most popular expensive, or not the most popular, but the most well-known expensive coffee amongst coffee connoisseurs, and that is Kopi Luwak, which is a coffee from Indonesia. It's known for its extreme smoothness and almost zero acidity, but at the same time it has hints of chocolate and almost nothing, like a nutty thing. Love the bad green screen. Is it bad today? Am I having green screen trauma? How you doing, Nathan? He made it. Should I switch to something more interesting? Could always do something crazy, something like that. Oh, hey, how you doing, Street? But so we're talking today about Kopi Luwak, and Kopi Luwak is most widely known as the coffee that nobody really wants to try, even though it can be very, very expensive. And the reason they don't want to try it is because of the way that it's produced. There are two methods that produce Kopi Luwak. They both involve the Asian palm civet, which is a type of Aboriginal, excuse me, not Aboriginal, but arboreal marsupial. It's a tree-dwelling animal, and what they do is they eat the coffee cherries. They digest the fruit of the cherry, and what remains is the little nut, and that's what everybody goes bananas over. It's usually roughly about $100 a pound for a bag, and that is with the most popular collection method. And then there's always the less popular collection method, which can produce coffee for about, I believe it's $1,000 for a 2-pound bag or something like that. Yes, yes, Nathan, you are correct. It was right about the poop part. So the idea here is that these coffee beans make it through the animal's digestive tract, and in the most popular method of collection, they actually pretty gnarly. They gather up these animals and they put them in cages and feed them almost exclusively the coffee cherries. It's really kind of nasty to the animal, and a lot of countries are trying to cease having the animals subjected to this. But collecting in that manner, you're not sending somebody out into the jungle trying to follow these tree cats around in Indonesia, where there could be some potentially dangerous animals, and trying to collect these things. So they actually farm the coffee beans from these animals in some cases, and that is the less expensive. It's usually about $100 a pound for this particular brand of coffee. The least popular method of collection of the beans is they have somebody actually go into the jungle and track these animals in their native habitat. In some cases, they leave the coffee cherries out for the animals who kind of treat it like a snack, and then they track them through the they track them through the wilderness, and they kind of recover these bundles, which are then cleaned and uh, and baked several times over to kill anything that might be kind of lingering in there. And supposedly, it produces an amazing, amazing, amazing cup of coffee. And it's just um, it's becoming more popular now in the United States. You can actually get it on Amazon. I have some in the other room that was graciously sent to me by Michael Rothman, um, sci-fi author extraordinaire. So I'm kind of apprehensive, but a little bit excited to give it a try. But yeah, so that's Kopi Luwak. You can get there's several different types, and like I said, the price is going to vary based on how it's collected. So you're going to have you anywhere from $100 for a full pound, which is if you get like a regular size small bag of coffee, you're probably going to pay $35 to $50 for the bag, where $1,500 for a pound is where it gets kind of that reputation for being very, very expensive, and that is in the ethically collected coffee beans that you hear about. So that's Kopi Luwak. Great way to start your morning. But we've also been talking about in a small series that we've been doing about different places that you can pick up your favorite books. So today I wanted to talk about comics. So a couple of different authors that have been on the live show, CC Akeke, Jeff Haskell, very popular authors who have done some really great stuff in superheroes. You have the guys over at Athon who just launched their Raptors series, which is really a lot of fun. So superheroes is kind of starting to branch out a little bit in the whole novel world or the literary world, as you were. And I thought it might be fun to kind of talk about where you can get comics very easily and kind of poop coffee for the win. Thanks, Nathan. Have I tried it? I have not tried it. It's just one of those things that I was like, nope, I'm never going to do it. But author extraordinaire Michael Rothman sent me a bag, and I'm going to have to take the plunge because he was kind enough to send it. So anyway, back to the comics. Say you wanted to dive into some comics and try some stuff out. We have over the last few days, you had the trailer for Shang-Chi, Marvel's next movie coming out. Of course, everybody's been talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and there were some great lines that came out of WandaVision. So if you wanted to kind of dive in and see where some of these characters come from, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. One of them is you can go right to a site called Comixology, and Comixology is kind of like buying streaming movies, but instead you're doing it for the comic books. They have an amazingly huge collection of all sorts of stuff. If you've been following certain series on Amazon, they just started. Hey, Guy Anthony. Good morning. Good morning. Have some this morning. What's the worst that could happen? Film it. How about I film it next time? That sounds like a good plan. But only if you're here. So going back to comics, if you've been following the Amazon series Invincible, which is based off a very popular comic by Robert Kirkman, who is the originator of The Walking Dead, say you wanted to find some of these comics and actually read some of the source material, Comixology is a good way to start. It is a kind of like a streaming service for your comics. You can get all sorts of stuff. There's tons of There's tons of different types. There's independent comics. You got, of course, the big two, Marvel and DC, and then the third guy in the room, which is Image Comics. But just like we were talking about earlier, as seen on film and TV, and you got a lot of stuff in there like Suicide Squad. They just dropped the trailer for. Obviously, people have been talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier. Invincible has been on Amazon. It's an animated series based on the very popular comic. Of course, if you're watching the Sci-Fi Channel, they got Resident Alien. Alan Tudyk is playing the alien in that, and it's kind of creepy and fun. But these are all things you can kind of get right here from the comfort of your living room, not having to go out anywhere or try and dip your toe into like a comic shop. But if you do decide to venture out and you grab your local you grab like your local Google or what have you that will point you in the right direction. If you decide to go to a comic shop, buy local. Support those small shops because they've been really struggling during the pandemic, really struggling to make things work. And you walking in there and saying, "Hey, what's good?" will make somebody's day. Especially if you walk away with a couple of comics in hand. It's just really a fun way. But if you're not going to go to a brick and mortar, of course you can go on Comixology. You can also check out if you want to do like a straight subscription service. You could of course do Marvel Comics Unlimited, which is kind of like a Netflix for the Marvel Comics. For a fee every month, you can read everything from the 1960s all the way up to current stuff, keeping it about 6 months old. Guy Anthony, there's a lot of great like local comic shops in my area in Rhode Island, as well as up and down the East Coast. New York used to be a huge mecca for comic book fans and stuff like that, and a lot of those stores have gone out, and only the really big ones have remained. Go. If you want to get your hands on some like physical media and get out there, I know that we had recently a local guy, not totally local, but he's a guy that we met on the internet. He was pimping a lot of his stuff. He has great ideas. His name is Bob Sally. He of course came out with one of my favorite books from last year, which is Shelter Division, kind of like the BPRD a little bit without the Hellboy, and just a really all-around great book. He does really good stuff. He goes to local shops and signs for his fans. If you get the opportunity, please go to a local shop, check them out, and help those guys stay in business, because they work just as hard as anybody I know to serve a fan base. And if that fan base turns around and gets into literary work and novels, just like we were talking earlier, CC Akeke, Jeff Haskell, Jamie Castle, those guys getting the name out and doing some good work in fiction and serving that superhero set. It's just really a great time. And you will not be disappointed by the wealth and breadth of the amazing talent that is out there serving the comics industry. Just a little something to start your day off with this morning. Please, by all means, surf around and get to us on Facebook, get to us on YouTube. If you go on YouTube, like and subscribe. We are growing as a community of broadcasters in and around reading and writing, and we want to take you with us. So like and subscribe us, get out there, visit keystroke.medium.com. Visit us on the Facebook group. We really want to hear what everybody's doing and what everybody's reading. And Guy is saying, I co-wrote a horror graphic novel that was up for the Bram Stoker Award back in 2012. Writing comic scripts is a weird hybrid of script writing. Yeah, you ain't kidding. Especially depending on whether or not you're working with certain artists. Nathan, of course, had to drop one more poop coffee for the win. But Guy, especially if you're working with certain artists that need more direction rather than less. But it's always fun when you're working with that artist who needs the less direction and you just write. As the writer, you're just like ninja fight. And then the dude just like kills it, and especially if you got like great colorists, great inker that can really make your pages. So get out there. Let's support let's support our comics friends, as well as the local shops. And don't forget to check out keystroke.medium.com. Stop by for the reading and writing. Stay for the coffee that is right on the site. And we'll check you next time for some reading, writing, and a little bit in between right here on Keystroke Medium. Thanks, guys.